Hello and welcome to the second video in a short series talking about the basics inside things like this quadcopter from Armatan here. Now, last time I talked about the control systems, and that covered all the different pieces from the sticks on your radio right the way through the flight controller out to the other side to the motors. This time it's about power. Now, power is one of those things that can be a little bit confusing if you haven't got an electrical background, because the batteries that are inside the model are going to be producing 12.5 or 16 volts, and the little flight controllers inside the model only need 5 volts typically. But then you have cameras that run on anything from 5 to 36 volts. You have video transmitters that can run on 5 to 36 volts, but the receiver for your radio runs on 5 volts. It feels really complicated, but it actually isn't. So this video, just like the one before it and just like the one after it, which is talking all around FPV, there's my fat sharks behind me, is going to be talking about the power system and how the battery connects to all the other parts inside here so that it's all powered and works beautifully. So let me jump onto the computer and go through the slides and illustrate where I can with close-ups of bits of models so you can see not only in abstract what I'm talking about, but what it looks like in real life. So before we get too deep into the quadcopter and the different systems, let's talk about the battery here on the left-hand side. Now, batteries come in lots of different shapes and sizes, and the battery, along with the ESCs and the motor, with a couple of bits in between, are all sized to work together. Now, if you look at a battery like this, you can actually see that there's 6 individual cells inside the battery. So that's a 6S battery. And 6S is probably the upper level of what we tend to fly, as I'm recording this video anyway, on multirotors. More common are 4S battery packs. Now, each of those cells inside the battery pack can be anything from 3.5 volts if it's completely discharged, up to a maximum of about 4.2 volts for regular lithium polymer battery cells. And the ESCs are designed for a particular range of voltages. And in the hobby, we tend to use the shorthand of how many cells are in the battery as the way to specify kit. So for example, you can see on these ESCs on my Armatan quad, it says they're 30 amp ESCs, but they support 2 to 6S LiPo batteries. So I could use them with a 2S LiPo battery or a 6S LiPo battery. Every time you add a cell into the battery, you're obviously increasing the voltage. So you can't just go sticking any old battery on any old quad, and the way it tends to work is that the more voltage you have on the battery, the more cells you have inside, you tend to find that the motor KVs come down and the prop sizes come down as well to make the same amount of thrust. Now, I'm not going to cover all of that in here. I'll link you to some of the RC basic stuff that I've done in the past. Just take away from this initial slide that the battery, ESCs and motors all go together. And you'll notice that in modern quadcopters, you'll find that some of them are listed as 4S versions and some of them are listed as 6S versions. The main difference in those is usually the KV of the motor is lower for the higher voltage 6S version of the model, because the motors will spin faster on the higher voltages. Now, of course, we have to get the battery voltage into the ESCs, and how is that done? Well, there's 2 ways that it tends to happen. The older way, which is one that's still used very heavily if you're building with something like a Pixhawk flight controller that doesn't have any other way to do it, you use something called a power distribution board, or PDB. And that has 2 leads that you connect the battery in on one side, and that then distributes the power, the battery voltage, into all the ESCs around the individual corners. Now, that means the ESCs are powered and they get the full battery voltage all of the time. Now, the power distribution boards typically have a couple of other jobs apart from being a neat, simple way to connect all of those big high voltage pieces together back into the battery. It also provides 5 volts typically to power the flight controller. Now, the flight controller needs 5 volts. The electronics on it all run at 5 volts. And obviously, if your battery is 12.5 or 16 or more volts, then you're going to need a way to drop that voltage down to a safe 5 volts that the flight controller can use. And the power distribution board is absolutely the part on older models that does that. In fact, here on this older model, you can see exactly that. We have the ESCs out on the arms, and you can also see we have a power distribution board at the bottom of the stack with the flight controller above it. And there'll be a couple of cables going from the power distribution board up to the flight controller to power it. Now, in some modern systems, those cables and connections are made from the lower boards that handle all the high voltages and the power into the flight controller via a little riser, like in this model here. But one thing you'll notice is there's actually more than 2 pins connected here. What those other pins doing? Well, typically what a power distribution board will do is also have another couple of pins that will send information to the flight controller about both the voltage of the battery that it's reading and also how much current, the number of amps that's being pulled from the battery, so that information can be tracked and displayed on things like on-screen displays. So typically you're going to have 4, 5 or even 6 wires going from the power distribution board up to the flight controller, but for the purposes of this we're just talking about power, so we'll just worry about the 2 that's supplying the 5 volts. Now that 5 volts that goes into the flight controller is actually used for an awful lot of things. That 5 volts is also put out if you have a GPS connected, it powers the GPS, but mainly it's going to be used to power the receiver. So the same 5 volts that the power distribution board pumps out that goes up into the flight controller to run the CPU and all the chips that are on the flight controller also goes out. It's a common 5 volt rail typically around all the 5 volt outputs, and that 5 volt output goes out to the receiver, powers it, and everything is all good. So by simply connecting that one connection from your receiver, and again that's usually going to be S-bus, but it can be other things like CRSF or whatever, 2 of the cables going out to that receiver. The one is going to be black, which will be your ground, and the other one will be your red, which will be your 5 volts. And then obviously that's going to connect over to your radio so you can control everything. Now, most power distribution boards will also output other voltages as well. So 9 or 12 volts are very typical. And that's because some technology that you want to connect up to may want a higher voltage. So you have the 5 volts available for your flight controller, and then you might have the 12 volts that you might connect up to something like your video transmitter. You might be using it to power lights, whatever it is. Most power distribution boards will have different options for that built in, and that will be available by the side. The only thing you have to be careful of here is that both things like a 5 and 12 volt out in this particular example are not unlimited amounts of current. That means that they won't allow you to run loads and loads of things on them, and this can get you into trouble. The 5 volt for a power distribution board is usually going to be rated to 1.5 amps typically, and that is absolutely loads for a flight controller and a receiver, maybe a GPS and other things as well. But if you're using a bigger system and you're adding lots of sensors, so maybe if you're building something with a Pixhawk where you're adding LiDARs and sonars and all kinds of wacky stuff on really big systems, then you might need to add separate battery eliminator circuits or BECs to provide the 5 and 12 volts. And that's actually what is on the power distribution board. There's a couple of what's called battery eliminator circuits, BECs. One is stepping down the voltage from the battery to 5 volts that the flight controller is using. And typically there's another one that's stepping down the battery voltage to something like 9 or 12 volts for other things to use too. Now, this way of setting things up isn't used as often these days because now we have something called all-in-one flight controllers. Now, all-in-one flight controllers is what's actually in this Armatan quad that I'm using as the example in here. This is a CL Racing F4S, and this flight controller does all of those functions in one place. You can see underneath there's a place where the battery voltage is going to connect, and in each of the corners there is the outputs where the speed controllers are plugging into and getting their connection from. So this all-in-one flight controller is actually being very clever and doing lots of different jobs in one very small board. And this is why all-in-one boards make for really neat installations. You don't need lots and lots of them. You just have one like this, and it does the functions of the power distribution board, where the voltage comes in from the battery, and that voltage and current is then sent out in pads in the corner out to the ESCs. It also then on board has the BECs, those things that drop down the battery voltage to 5, 12 and other voltages on the board to power the electronics that the flight controller is, and it's also monitoring the battery voltage and the current and doing all that stuff on one board, which makes it super neat. There are a couple of options for how to do your ESCs as well. You can either have the ESCs out on the arms, like in this 5-inch Armatan model, or you can have your ESCs centrally located as part of the flight controller stack. When it's done like that, then the ESCs and power distribution board are kind of put into one, and then the flight controller is above it with all of the necessary connections made between the two, usually with some kind of snap-on riser. But all of the functions in terms of distributing the power around, connecting out to the ESCs, and monitoring the battery and voltage and converting voltages down to much lower levels for the electronics is all still happening on those couple of boards. So hopefully that's helped explain a little bit of how some of that works. The trick is always to make sure that you are following the wiring diagram for whatever flight controller that you have. And if you're connecting a peripheral like a camera or video transmitter or something else, that it will run on the voltage that you're about to connect it to. And I'll cover more of that in the next video where I'll talk all around FPV. Thank you for watching my video and watching right to the very end. If you want to find out what I'm currently working on, you can follow me on social media by searching for Painless360 in the usual places. If you'd like to become part of the inner circle, then you can become a Patreon. Details are in the description and you get lots of additional benefits. Check out the playlist section on the channel too. I organise all of my videos into playlists, and it's called something like Introduction to or for Beginners. All of the content is aimed so that you can start at the very beginning, and it teaches you that subject, starting with simple principles and moving up to teach you everything you need to know.